welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Chastity. We read a lot of books, we do a lot of things. It's kind of the whole shtick. I have decided it is time again to try your hand at a 24-hour reading challenge. Now, in January, I failed. I fell asleep in the last 6 hours and slept through the end of that particular challenge. But today I will be starting at nighttime and then reading through the day. One, so I can go to bed to be able to go to church the next morning. But two, hopefully doing it this way, I'll be able to stay up through the night and read more books. I'm going to be bouncing around the apartment a little bit. I'm going to read in the office, read in the living room, make a pot of coffee, first and foremost. But I say the best way to start something is to simply begin. So without further ado, the first book that I have decided to read for this reading challenge, because it's going to be very mood ready, I'm just going to pick whatever I feel like. And I think the best way to start is going to be The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I just recently purchased this book, so it's definitely new to my shelf. I may venture off into some of the books that I've had for a while, but as of right now, this is the thing that is drawing me in and making me want to know more. So we're going to start here and work our way through. The goal today is 3 books. I feel like that's attainable within a 24-hour span. I just feel like it is. So, this is the most dramatic part every time. So, our time begins. This feels very investigator-esque, but not the point. I didn't say that I started that video right around 9:45 in the evening. It is currently, I don't know if you can read that, 12:17, and I've been going for 2.5 hours. I have made it 88 pages into The Red Queen. I am enjoying my time. It is, I don't want to say fast-paced, but there are things that have already started to happen. I'm invested. I'm having a good time. I did fall asleep for 30 minutes. I think I dozed off on the couch. Cup of coffee in hand. But I'm not giving up. I think, gonna move to the big couch with the big lights. Because I know for a fact that if I stay in here on my futon that I have laid down because sitting on it is uncomfortable, I will 1000% go right back to sleep and just sleep through the night. But I want to give this my best shot, so I'm going to do some jumping jacks or push-ups or something, get the blood pumping. Now, here's my update on the actual book. Red Queen, so far, pretty interesting. I'm having a good time. Definitely a YA, written like a YA. I can definitely see parallels to other YAs written at this same time, but following Mayor Barrow, who is classified as a red. The world is split between reds and silvers, and they're differentiated literally by the color of their blood. If you have red blood, you are low-born servants. If you can't find work, then you are conscripted into a war that they've been fighting for 100 years. And if you're a silver, you have these magical abilities like telekinesis, or you can grow greenery or read people's minds, and you live a life of luxury. Mayor, days before her conscription, gets into quite a bit of trouble with her younger sister and runs into a stranger. Because of the stranger, she ends up working at the king's palace, kind of out of nowhere, and they are holding a ceremony in a sense, where they're trying to find the new queen. They're trying to find the 2 women of the high houses that are going to marry each of the princes. There are 2. The way they do that is by flaunting their powers. Who's the most powerful? Who can create the strongest lineage? And in the midst of this, she falls to what would seemingly be her death and discovers in front of hundreds of silvers and all of the high houses that as a red, she has magical abilities. And now they have to figure out what to do with her. So that's where I am in this book. Again, having a good time, very reminiscent of Hunger Games-ish vibes. Also makes me think of Matched a little bit. Does anybody remember that one? The book was like the girl in the green bubble. Does that make sense? So, that's where we are. I'm going to go move to the couch. And we will go from there. I love you guys so much, and I'm trying so hard, but I genuinely may fall back asleep. Good morning. It is 8:30. The timer has been going for 10 hours and 41 minutes. I did read for like 2 or 3 more hours before I fell asleep. I like the book. The book is engaging. I'm having a good time. But I'm also 28 years old. I tried my best to stay up all night, but I also had to be an adult yesterday. I had a dentist appointment, I ran a bunch of errands, went on a lunch date, I edited a whole video. You know, I used to stay up for 24 hours reading when I was in like high school. But also I did that last year with Grady Hendrix' How to Sell a Haunted House. I stayed up until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning reading because I couldn't put it down. And I'm not saying this book isn't interesting. I wonder if I needed something like even more fast-paced that like kept my mind a little bit more engaged. But let's update you on that book and see what's going on. I made it to page 136. And now Mare is going by a different name to try to hide her identity and jumping through a lot of hoops to pretend to be a silver in order to survive per the king and queen's order. They're going to try to kind of hide her in plain sight. And none of this is spoilers because all of that is on the back of the book. But from here on out, it's going to be a little spoilery, so I'm going to try not to tell you anything too big about the plot. But yeah, I sense a love triangle coming. You know, I'm kind of over love triangles. As an adult, I'm kind of over love triangles. When you were a kid, they were really intense and really like, oh my god, he loves her, she loves him, but there's this third person she loves. And it was very exciting when you are a teenager because the concept of love is very exciting when you're a teenager. And for me, I'm not trying to be self-deprecating, I didn't like date in high school. Not because I didn't want to. I was just a nerdy kid. I was also like mean as a defense mechanism. And so I didn't go on dates. Boys didn't really like me. And if they did, my cousin would scare them off. I know that happened at least once. And then there were other times as I got older. I'm not a settler, so I wouldn't settle for like bare minimum. So, I mean, I didn't date a lot. And that's okay. But when I was younger, the concept of two people loving me so unconditionally in a romantic sense was very like, oh my God, top tier. But now, as a grown-up, less so. And I think it's the choice of it all. Because I always knew when I was reading those books and there was two boys you're supposed to pick from, I always knew who I'd pick, like off the jump. And even as an adult, I'm like, that's my person. I'm good. Everybody else deuces. You know what I mean? So I sense, all of that to say, I sense a love triangle situation coming. And that part I'm not like super invested in. I do hope there's a little bit of romance. So I'm going to go to the bathroom and get another cup of coffee. And then let's jump back into the book. I'm going to read all day. I promise I'll read all day. I promise. 3 books is looking a lot less likely, but maybe we can knock out 2. Handsome guy. He has missed me because I have not snuggled him in like several hours. Lay down. Lay down. Okay. We're just gonna have a lap dog. You gotta lay down. Lay down. It is 2:14. I am 16 and a half hours into our little 24-hour challenge, and I have just finished The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I think I am going to give this a 3.5. I think this is a 3.5. The thing about it is, I liked the book perfectly fine, but I hate to say it, it feels like something I've read before, in the sense of this girl pulled out of the slums who is given an opportunity to hide in plain sight and fight in a rebellion, and everything comes crashing down around her. I mean, it was written in 2016, so that was right about the time of all of the heroines of old or whatever coming into the limelight. And so, I mean, it's kind of to be expected, but also slightly disappointing. I do want to read the next one. I'm invested in the story. But ultimately, like, you kind of know how it's going to end. You know what I mean? The twist was not surprising to me. I'm not going to say I saw it coming, but there were moments where it's like, I don't trust it. And I was right. There was a weird love triangle. I was also right in that sense, but not as obvious as previous love triangles, if that makes sense. I enjoyed my time, but I kind of wish that I had read something different. Especially since it took me 16 and a half hours to read it. I'm at 16:29, and I'm just now finishing it. But part of that is because I fell asleep. Now it is time to pick our next book, and I am severely torn between 3 books. The first one is Let Him In by William Friend, which is a horror novel, like horror. The other is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix horror novels, from my experience, are scary, but also like have a weird humor to them. or One Dark Window, which is another fantasy. And I am leaning, as much as I am excited to read One Dark Window, I am leaning away from it just because I just read about magic and mystery and things. And so let's see which one's shorter. Oh, you know what I could also read Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. Oh. Let Him In is a reading group guide. There's book club notes. Let Him In is 255 pages. My best friend's Exorcism is 332 pages. I think we're going to go with Let Him In. Let Him In is a horror. Alfie wakes one night to find his twin daughters at the foot of his bed, claiming there's a shadowy figure in their bedroom. When no such thing can be found, he assumes the girls had a nightmare. He isn't surprised that they're troubled. Grief has made this home at Hart House 9 months ago. The twins' mother, Pippa, died unexpectedly, leaving Alfie to raise them alone. And now, when the girls mention a new imaginary friend, it seems like a harmless coping mechanism. But the situation quickly develops into something more insidious. The girls set an extra place for him at the table. They whisper to him. They say he's going to take them away. Alfie calls upon Julia, Pippa's sister, and a psychiatrist to oust the malignant tenant from their lives. But as Alfie himself is haunted by visions and someone watches him at night, he begins to question the true character of the force that has poisoned his daughter's mind with dark and violent consequences. Whatever this friend is, he doesn't want to leave. Alfie will have to confront his own shameful secrets, the dark past of Hart House, and even the bounds of reality to risk taking part in an unspeakable tragedy. William, I hope you're a friend, because we won't dive on in. Okay, so I finished Let Him In by William Friend. That's how I felt, Bubby. The thing about this book is I felt like I was putting together a 500-piece puzzle, but I didn't get to pick the piece that got handed to me next. Does that make sense? I was lost for a large majority of this book. It's only 255 pages, and I was confused for like all of them, including the ending, especially the ending. So in Let Him In, you are following a small family, Alfie, his two daughters, Cassie and Sylvie, and their aunt Julia, after their mother dies 9 months ago. A bunch of creepy stuff happens, and the girls start seeing a figure in the house, their imaginary friend called the Black Mamba, and things get a little out of hand. The Black Mamba appears to them as a bird and a cat and a fish and a bear and all kinds of little creatures, but primarily he is a man. And you're following them trying to figure out what the children are seeing. What does it mean? Is it a coping mechanism because of the death of their mother? And it's all very creepy. I won't say I was like scared. I was definitely uneasy at some points, but the ending felt almost unfinished. Like, there was definitely an ending. It ended. But I was left with more questions than answers, to be quite frank. Also, Grandma, batty old lady. All right. There's a lot of religious undertones to this book. None of them good. And I think I'm going to give it a 3. I think if I started this book at night and I tried to read it like in the dark, it would scare me. Thankfully, I read it during the daytime. I'm going to give it a 3. Would I recommend it to a friend? Maybe. Am I ever going to pick it up again? Absolutely not. With that, I have I'm at 22 hours and 23 minutes, leaving me with an hour and a half-ish to read. So I am going to pick a new book, but in the last 24 hours, I have had epic fantasy, magic, a really thought-provoking horror about grief. I want something where I don't have to think and I can turn my brain off and just kind of exist. So I think I'm going to go with Judge's Mercy by Misty Walker. This is the last book in the Sons of Herberus series. They're all interconnected standalones. It's a biker romance, and it is a sister series to The Royal Bastards, which was 5 books long, and then this is the 3rd book, and they had a novella in The Sons of Herberus. So we're going to start in with my Barker book. This one follows the club priest as he finds love. It's a no-thought, low-plot book. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here for the vibes at this point. Well, guys, the 24-hour challenge is over. It is the next day. I needed to sleep because I'm not entirely sure if everything I was saying was actually coherent or if I was making any sense whatsoever. But to kind of recap a little bit, we read The Red Queen. I gave this one a 3.5, I think. I did like it. I am going to read the next one, but I've heard that the rest of the books in the series were bad and that no one really liked them. So if that is not true, please let me know. I'm very intrigued to know whether or not I'm going to enjoy the rest of the series, but I do want to know what happens, even though it was kind of standard and a little predictable. Ugh, I hate to say it. And then I also read Let Him In by William Friend. He confused me from start to finish. There are lots of twists and turns, and again, it's like a puzzle piece where you don't get to pick the next piece that you're given, and trying to put that picture together was a lot for my brain to handle. And also, I don't know how scary it actually was. There was a couple moments that I was like uncomfortable, but never really like scared, which is what I was hoping for with this one. And then we started Judge's Mercy by Misty Walker. We did not get very far. We got to page 31. Oh no, my mushroom. We got to page 31 on Judge's Mercy. My brain was fried at that point, so I was not reading very quickly. In fact, I was not comprehending a lot, and so there was a lot of rereading. So that last hour and a half took a hot minute to get anywhere, but I love doing these challenges. Now, I think, because I'm going to continue to do 24-hour challenges, I don't know how often, but I do think that in the future, we're going to try it just a little bit differently so I can get more reading done and also not sacrifice as much sleep as I have been, because my brain was just like spaghetti that's been cooked too long. Does that make sense? Probably not. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I had a blast doing this. I always have fun when I get to do this type of video where I just sit down and read and I'm unbothered for a full day and a half. But all of that to be said, if you hadn't already, you should hit subscribe, and then there's going to be a little bell icon. If you tap on that, you'll be notified every time I post on Saturday at noon. If you want to see more videos like this where I do reading challenges or 24-hour reading vlogs, go ahead and hit the like button so I know that you enjoyed it. And I love you guys so much. Thanks for coming along with all of my reading adventures, and I will see you in the acknowledgements.